Toyota sales and production are both down. What in the world is going on? And what in the world is the correct term? Because we're talking about global sales and where Toyota is succeeding and where Toyota is falling right now around the world. We're going to dive into. If you guys are excited for today's news as well as Lexus updates, we will cover Lexus sales too. Is Lexus this unstoppable luxury force? Well, they're pretty darn good here in the United States. They reclaimed second place last year in the luxury market. They're battling BMW for first place this year, but they're probably going to fall short of taking the luxury crown. But if you guys are excited, hit the like button. Look at what we have to digest this day. So we're going to break down Toyota sales for the month of November. The sales data has finally come in for November. I know we're almost done with December, but this is how Toyota does it. It takes a while for the numbers to come in. And production, we'll go over by region. That one's a bit fun too. And then exports by country. Keep in mind, we are now exporting from the United States to Japan cars, okay? So Toyota will be exporting the Camry, the Highlander, probably the upcoming Highlander EV would be my guess as well. And then the Toyota Tundra full-size pickup truck, which is enormously huge for the streets of Japan, but it is what it is. We'll also go over sales of electrified vehicles and then sales of Lexus at the very end. If you guys remember, I used to sell for Lexus, so I get very passionate when I see Lexus doing things not so great and Lexus doing things great. Toyota, including Lexus worldwide, if you look right here, this column, November, it's down. They were down 2%. Okay, you might be saying, Kirk, that is, it's insignificant. Well, not really. Okay, when you're producing to the tune of over 10 million vehicles, all right, per year, I mean, we're talking tens of thousands of vehicles that are impacted here. All right. Now, if you look at the total sales so far in 2025, they're actually up almost 4% globally, but things are heading into the wrong direction for Toyota here. Now we get into sales of individual regions. Again, sales up 3.8% worldwide for the year, but down 2.2% for the month of November. Now, in North America, things are still rolling, up 2%. You know, United States, I don't know why Hawaii is not like they have to put in parentheses, including Hawaii. Why? That is odd. Let me know if you guys agree. Is Hawaii? I know Hawaii is definitely on. It's like its own little country out there in the middle of the Pacific. I get that, but I just find that interesting, as if they wouldn't include Hawaii in the United States. Weird, right? Anyways, up 2.7%. Now we look at Canada, up 8.8%. Now Canada, it's getting a bit. It's weird with USA and Canada right now because vehicles that are maybe made in the United States are not getting sent to Canada, but Canada has such a huge production volume of Toyotas and Lexus. Okay, NX, RX, RAV4 are all made up in Ontario. All right, and so they will send a ton of those models to the mother country of Canada where those vehicles are built. All right, to avoid tariffs. So doesn't surprise me that Canada is up very, very nicely here. Mexico, on the other hand, minus 4%. And it could be due to reducing some volume from the United States to be sold in Mexico. It's hard to say. I would assume most of the Mexican volume there would be from Japan, the sales volume for Toyota Mexico, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so they get the Sienna down in Mexico. They get so Sienna's Indiana production. Let's see what kind of models they get over there. They get the Yaris. Now, look at this Yaris. This Yaris is totally different from the Yaris that is made in Japan that I'm aware of. In looking at Wikipedia here, this is actually the Toyota Vios. It looks a lot like a Civic, right? Like a Civic hatchback. So this vehicle, where is it made? It's made in Thailand and Malaysia and brought into Mexico and sold there. I think it looks pretty cool. The headlights are pretty sharp on it. I mean, the front end here is almost like the new Lexus IS, for example. All right, so this is a cool little subcompact sedan that It's called the Yaris in the Middle East and Latin America, but it's really the Vios. Very fascinating, really, really interesting. Anyways, can't believe Mexico gets that car and we don't. Toyota's like, hey, let's just kill all the vehicles that are small for the United States, and Nissan has done it too. They just killed off the Sentra. All right, what other vehicles do they get? What is this? A Keep It Up? Okay, they get the Rise, which is like a Daihatsu. It's a K car technically, or I'm pretty sure it is. Okay, the Rise is a really small vehicle, only made in Japan that I'm aware of. All right, so the 4Runner is Japan, so they are getting a good mix, and they Keep It Up here. This is Avanza, the Toyota Avanza. Well, I'm not really familiar with this thing. It looks like an MPV. It's like a van, or it's kind of like the Innova as well. Wikipedia says, do not confuse this with the Toyota Venza. So the Avanza is also the Daihatsu Xenia, also known as the Toyota Veloz and Alza, and has been in production since 2003. Weird. It's a 5-door wagon without sliding doors, even though it looks like a minivan. Weird, weird, weird. Of course, they get the Hilux there, even though the Tacoma is made in Mexico. They still get the Hilux as an option because they don't have anything such as a chicken tax. They also get the Hi-Ace, which makes me sick to my stomach because I would kill for a Hi-Ace in the United States. All right, well, let's get back to that. That was a bit depressing because there's vehicles you can get in Mexico that we cannot get. That's not helping their sales, though. Now, the Lexus TX and the Grand Highlander, because they haven't been on recall and stop sale, the sales numbers here in the United States for Toyota look good. And again, back in November, as I pull up the official sales data here, and it's hard for you to see because my face is in the way, but Toyota's up 7% the year, but up 2.7% in the United States, which is not that impressive because there's a huge drop in sales on the RAV4, which is their biggest seller. So 4%, which you're saying, Kirk, that's not a big drop. Yeah, but it's, 3,000 units. Okay, it's significant. Crown Signia is down. BZ is down until, the new models come. I've actually seen a couple of the new BZs on the road. All right. So really, Toyota's kind of a mixed bag even here in the United States. All right, some models are up, some are down. Again, if we go back, the Grand Highlander, for example, is up 73%. Massive. It's up 100% on the year. Okay, so that vehicle alone is like pretty much carrying Toyota and Lexus at this point. All right, so let's get back to the sales volume here. Other parts of North America, maybe the Caribbean islands, that sort of thing, is down 8%. All right, Latin America, down 25%. Now, what is going on in Latin America? Well, and Toyota is down massively in Brazil and Argentina because a storm rolled through and destroyed the plant. At 2 plants in Brazil, after heavy rains and winds severely damaged the Porto Feliz factory, company says did not know when production might resume. And they make engines at the Sorocaba plant, and it assembles vehicles including the Yaris, the Corolla, and the Corolla Cross. There's no quick turnaround there in Brazil. Like this is terrible. And so they will continue to suffer in Latin America for the foreseeable future. That is crazy. Holy smokes. All right. So they're going to have to lean heavily on importing from other countries to make up for the massive drop in production. Yikes. Man, I know cars are already expensive in Brazil. What is this going to do? All right, it's only going to increase the prices of cars. Europe, minus 5%. Yikes. Overall demand remained solid and was roughly in line with the previous year. No, it wasn't, because you were down 5%. Why? UK down 6 to 7%. France down 9%. Italy down 9%. Germany down 16%. Spain up 8%. Others up down 3%. Is Europe going through some financial crisis? Because Toyota being down like this is quite alarming over in Europe. All right, that is really odd to me. I'm American, so I don't know the ins and outs of every single economy in Europe. All right, so let me know if you guys are watching from Europe or you understand what's going on over there. Why is Toyota down in every country but Spain? Spain's showing quite strong numbers. Bizarre, really, really strange. Asia. This is a big reason why Toyota is down over 2%, because China, while down, where's China right here? China is down 12%. China is the largest market, or one of the largest. It's the largest auto market in the world, but it's the largest market for Toyota. Well, if you look at, well, it used to be bigger for Toyota. Toyota peaked there in 2021, and has taken a big drop from 23 to 24. Okay, and it will be down again this year. But if we look at 24 sales, China's at 1.7 million. Okay, US is at 2.3. Now, US will continue to maintain strength for Toyota for the foreseeable future. But China, it will continue to shrink. There's no doubt about it. All right, for Toyota, it's shrunk for all the other Japanese automakers. Mitsubishi even pulled out a couple years ago. All right, so let's get back to China here. China's down 12%. If China wasn't down 12%, Toyota would be up in Asia. But China is such a huge pull that is not good. So why is China down? Well, they say it's because there's an expansion in regions where subsidy programs were discontinued. All right, so increasing discontinuations of subsidies and an increase in customers waiting for new policy measures, along with the impact of switching core models such as the RAV4. Well, if we go back to the US, the RAV4 has also been impacted here as they're switching over to the new model. Watch my review of the new Woodland that I've had all this week. I made 4 different videos on that. You guys really enjoyed the RAV4 content, so I pumped it out for you. So check out that content. But the RAV4, although extraordinarily important here in North America, it's really important over there in China as well. In fact, the design of the RAV4 got leaked from a Chinese dealer meeting, which was kind of interesting, kind of fun. All right. Anyways, that was what, a year ago at this point, something like that. We'll see what happens. Could this just be a temporary drop? I don't know. When you see subsidy programs discontinued, you see discontinuation of, well, you see customers waiting on the sidelines because they don't know what's going to happen with governmental policies. It could be very bad news for the auto market, at least for Toyota in Japan. In China. So we'll see. Indonesia not looking good. Indonesia, year-on-year declines due to challenging market environment caused by strict loan screenings and the introduction of additional taxes and other factors. Other factors are other brands, like Chinese brands, being somewhat successful in Indonesia and taking market share from Toyota. That's happened in Thailand too, but Thailand is still quite strong. Look, up 12% for Toyota, despite the challenging market environment due to strict loan screening. Sales exceeded last year's level thanks to strong performance centered on the Yaris. All right. India. Well, India is still very green for Toyota, whereas Toyota's partner Suzuki is extraordinarily successful there. Suzuki has a massive share of the market in India. So if we go down here, Toyota's up 15.9% in India. This will continue to grow on the backs of the Urban Cruiser Highrider, Innova Hycross, etc. All right. We look at Philippines, up pretty big here. And actually now that I'm seeing this, India has become the second largest market for Toyota in Asia. You know, if we go back to 23 here, they sold 156,000 units. That was behind Philippines and Thailand. Okay, you fast forward to 2024, 222,000. So they passed Philippines, almost eclipsing Thailand. And then you get to so far in 2025. And India has sold 300,000 units. Has passed Indonesia, India has become the most important market for growth for Toyota in the entire world. India is this untapped potential for Toyota and so many other automakers. You look at Honda, the Japan Mobility Show, they showed one new BEV there. Well, 2, but 1 0 Series BEV. And that 0 Series BEV was made in India for the Indian market, and they will be exporting it to Japan. So crazy how big of a role India is this sleeping, that's like a waking sleeping giant is what India is. India population continues to grow, and I think Chinese population is decreasing as well. and India's wealth will continue to grow too. All right, but still pales in comparison to the sheer volume of China, but give it time. Give it time. Japan's about neutral. And then if you guys want to read about the smaller markets, go ahead and pause here. But let's go and get to production. You can't sell what you can't make. You got to make the cars first. And worldwide production, so Toyota sales were down 2.7%. Okay, but that included volume of cars that were produced way before November. You look at November and globally it's down 5.5%. When I see that, that means in the coming months, Toyota will continue to be down because it takes a month, 2 months sometimes for the vehicles to leave the assembly lines and get to dealerships and be sold. So we will see sales for Toyota continue to be down, I would say, for the next 2-3 months minimum. This could be a continuing trend. Look at the Chinese sales. It's not looking good in China. For all the reasons we've already stated. We look at the United States, production here is up 3%. They need to make as many cars here as possible to avoid tariffs. I get that. So if you look at 9%, it's up 9%. Canada's down 6%. Why is Canada down 6%? Well, that's Toyota potentially reshuffling things like RAV4. RAV4 is made in the United States and Canada, and if they can pump out more RAV4s in the United States to be sold in the United States, that's less tariffs they have to pay on Canadian-made RAV4s. Same thing with Mexico. Mexico production is down. All those cars, all those Tacomas that get built in Mexico and brought to the United States, they're all tariffed. All right, and so production down there, is it because of tariffs? I'm not quite sure, but this here with Toyota being up in the US and down in Canada, that smells like tariffs to me. All right, or tariff strategy. Latin America, again, because of Brazil, down 53%. It was just a bloodbath there for that plant where they make the Yaris Cross, etc. The Corolla Cross, I think, was made there too. Yaris, Corolla Cross. Anyways, Europe, up 8% in production. Europe, again, in terms of sales, we go back to sales here by country. Europe's not doing great. Europe was down 5% on the month. They're up on the year, but down 5% on the month. We go back to production. It's down in UK. It's up in Turkey, up in France, down in Czech Republic. Production is up overall in Europe, but it's down on the year though. Asia, Chinese production. Well, let's see here. Chinese production down 14%. That kind of ties in line with them being down about 13% in sales. But Asia production down 5%. Where are they succeeding? Well, Thailand, Philippines, massive up in Philippines, but Thailand, Philippines, we know India is doing well for them. All right. But quite big in Vietnam, which don't make a lot of vehicles there anyways. Down in Taiwan. Don't make that many vehicles there anyways, but it is still significant. In China, this is the most significant, down 14%. Down 14%. This tells me China will continue to suffer as they don't have a lot of Chinese-made Toyotas or as many as they had been previously making in the year before. Sales of electrified vehicles, I think I'm excited to go. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into this. Maybe I can make this screen a little bit bigger for you guys. We get into hybrids. The RAV4 is going fully hybrid. The Camry's gone full hybrid in the United States. So many cars for Toyota have gone fully electrified. All right. Worldwide sales for electrified vehicles are actually down 6% in November. You got to keep in mind overall sales were down 2 to 3% in November. So hybrid sales, though, down 6%. Sales inside of Japan, down 13%. Sales outside of Japan, down 4%. It could be RAV4 volume. It's really strange that their hybrid sales are down. I don't really understand what's going there because if we look at the full year, it's up 8%. So weird. Mild hybrid, they barely make any of those. Plug-in hybrid, the RAV4 has so many, with the new RAV4 coming out, they have so many new trim levels. So we've had SE and XSE plug-in hybrids before. Now we have the Woodland, and now you also have the GR Sport model. So plug-in hybrids in theory should grow. Going into 2026 as well. Now, plug-in hybrids should be very successful as well in China. because we're seeing actually larger growth. Last time I checked, anyways, so things change, but we're seeing larger growth in plug-in hybrids or EREVs in China than fully battery electrics. Who knows? But PHEV is still a growing segment around the world. It is much smaller than EV and is way smaller than hybrid. All right, if you look at plug-in hybrid, they have sold 170,000 so far this year, and their hybrids is 4 million. Right. So kind of a drop in the bucket there. All right. And then we get into BEVs. BEVs, well, they're up incredibly high. Okay. If we, in the year November, up 89%. So they're up massively. Maybe it's up massively because of China. That's what I'm going to say, because we have not been seeing hardly any EVs in the United States from Toyota. That's all about to change. Early next year, I'll be driving the new BZ Woodland, the new CHR. But yeah, up 1200% inside of Japan for BEVs. And then up 76% outside of Japan. So BEVs will continue to grow, not nearly at the pace where Toyota thought. They thought by 2026, I want to say they thought by 2026 they'd be selling over 1 million BEVs a year. And we look at 2025, they're not going to get to 200,000. What? Like, we're talking 10% of where they thought their BEV market would be, something like that. Absolutely. And I want to say by 2030 they thought they would be selling 3 million BEVs per year. They're just nowhere close to that. Nowhere close to that. All right. And they won't be close to that either, in my opinion. All right. Unless they're able to produce solid state batteries at an enormous scale for dirt cheap, which is not going to happen. So worldwide sales for electrified vehicles down 3%. Inside of Japan, down 11%. Again, the hybrid volume being the big missing piece here. North America down 5%. Europe up 3%, but it doesn't break down to say what's up. It doesn't tell me in Europe if BEVs are up or hybrids are up. All right, so I'm going to say in Europe, their hybrids are down and their BEVs are up. That's just my guess. So China, it's down 7.5%, but China is down 13% overall. They're replacing some of that volume with electrified vehicles, but they're still down. Lexus, here we go. Worldwide sales for Lexus. How is Lexus doing? Well, last year they were up at this point. Okay, now they're down 2.7%, which is strangely about equal to where Toyota is overall. Overall in the year, though, Lexus is up. Are they going to finish up on the year? Probably, but they're not heading in the right direction. And if this trend continues, Lexus sales will continue to shrink, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Lexus inside of Japan for the month of November up 20%. That has kind of erased the deficit that Lexus has been in this year in Japan. Outside of Japan, down 5%. In the USA, down 5%. It's up 8% on the year, but down 5% on the month. All right. Lexus GX volumes not being able to meet demand, as well as some of the hybrid volume. Latin America up 9% on the month. Europe down 18%. Wow, this is a massive change. If I had to guess, it's due to maybe the lack of EVs. Let me know if you guys agree with that. I would assume that's what it is. The RZ is just not available. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Or maybe it's not competitive enough, etc. I don't know. You guys tell me why you think Lexus is down 18% in Europe on the month, which has erased all the gains that they've had so far this year. Last time this year, Lexus was up 19% in Europe. Weird. Asia, overall, minus 2%. I wish they would explain China, but hey, look, it was much worse in Asia. If we go to sales, all right, including Lexus, in Asia is down 4%. But if we go back to Lexus again, they're about neutral. So Lexus is doing better than Toyota in Asia. That could be due to maybe some success in China. It's hard to say. Oceania down 9%, Middle East up 8%, Africa up 19%. So overall, though, up 4% on the year, but down 2.7% on the month. Where will this lead Toyota into 2026? Will they continue to struggle with production being down around the world in the month of November? Even more so than what sales were. It tells me that December, January, February, Toyota could be in for some shrinking. It's not that big again, it's not going to kick them out of the number one automaker in the world. But I mean, we've been seeing this with the large automobile companies for years now, is a shrinking. Nissan is really small. Honda is no longer like in the top 3 in Japan. It's like Toyota, Suzuki, and then Nissan. And I think Honda's number 4 at this point for manufacturers from Japan. So like all these manufacturers have got to the point where they can't grow anymore. And because people overall around the world can't afford cars, they're starting to shrink. These automakers are starting to shrink. So will Toyota be able to maintain 10 to 11 million vehicles worldwide sales every single year for the future? Unlikely. Got to keep in mind, they could continue to shrink on a massive scale in China. That might not be just Toyota. That could be all the manufacturers in China, as well as the ones that already exist there. That could include BYD too. BYD probably, I mean, there's a chance that they could have already peaked as the markets around the world are cooling. So fascinating times we're looking at here. You know, when you have Toyota, the most successful automaker in the world, starting to see some dips in demand and in production, it definitely raises some red flags because it could absolutely affect smaller companies in a much more dramatic way. I'll see you guys in the comments. Stay tuned for more updates. I still got to get my Nissan Leaf reviews out. I'll try to do a nighttime and a daytime review, maybe even of an efficiency review. It just depends. All right, how much time I have. I only have like 1-2 days left with it. So anyways, thank you guys. Stay tuned for more. Catch you in the next one. Peace.